Hi, everybody. We are here to talk about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. And we can keep going into next week with this title if you want. This movie is doing so poorly, as opposed to their expectations of the studio, that they've now, marketing has been scrambling to do something, and they've now changed the title in a lot of the theaters just to call Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn, or Birds of Prey colon Harley Quinn, which is probably how it should have been to begin with. Or no, I think it was Harley Quinn colon Birds of Prey, where Harley Quinn's first, and that's because everybody knows the character of Harley Quinn, but not many people know the Birds of Prey franchise, and that's because Birds of Prey is really only known by the comic fans. So they had the comic fans, and they had a very, very short-lived TV show back in the 90s that was called Birds of Prey. And it was, I don't know, 18 episodes. I don't think it even lasted a full season. So, and that was because it was bad. And, now we have two Birds of Prey franchise film/TV that were bad. It's too bad, because I was a big fan of the comic. I collected it from issue 1 on for quite a while, for years. Back with Chuck Dixon, and then with Gail Simone, and Gail Simone's stuff still remains the best to this day. Unfortunately, we were given this film. And I really don't know what was behind the creation of this disaster, and I know it's very well received on Rotten Tomatoes, and I had to put up my own review today because I don't understand it. I do not understand how this film got the Tomatoes rating that it did. And I watched a few of the other people that have reviewed this film, and they all basically said the same thing. Nobody understands why this thing got the rating it did. Because even if they paid off some of the people, as far as the reviewers, the audience score is high. Walking into this film, so there's two things. Let me start with why I didn't want to walk into this film to begin with. I was boycotting this film from day one when they messed with the source material. This film literally spits and pisses all over the source material. They do not give a crap about this source material. This was purely, let's do Harley Quinn, and let's throw some other stuff in here, and then we'll just call it one of the other properties that we have as far as DC Comics is concerned. That's all this was. They just did not care, and it's so obvious. And not to mention the fact that I knew walking into this thing that this thing was not made for me. All these films, they get the actors and the producers and the writers say, "This ain't made for you, middle-aged white guy. Get the hell out of the theater. We don't want you here." Yet, it's based on a comic book series that had its #1 audience is male. And at this point in time, after the 90s, guess how old we are? So the people that remember this stuff are middle-aged men. Anyway, I didn't want to walk into this film, but a lot of people said, we want to get your review on it, so go see it, and we want to hear it. So I was not giving my money to these people. Sorry, Margot Robbie, I know you produced this thing. I know this is your rah-rah moment, Elizabeth Banks, yay moment, but God, stop. Please stop with this. So I bought a ticket for Gretel and Hansel and walked into this thing because they needed help too. So I bought a ticket for that. So I'm telling the whole internet world that I did not pay for this film. I basically stole this film. So at least I went to the theater to see it and didn't download it off some kind of hack site. I hate that crap. So anyway, I walked into this thing. Here's the reasons why I was boycotting this thing to begin with. So let's talk about the problems I had to begin with, and then this is going to be a very long video. And then the problems I had after I walked out of it. So number one, the cast of characters from the source material. That's my biggest problem before I walked into this thing. So let's start with, so I have no problem with Harley. I think that everybody who went to see this movie went to see it because they wanted a reprisal of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. And me included. I wanted to see her reprise the role. It was everything else that I didn't want to see. So I have no problem with her Harley, although the biggest problem with this thing, of course, I'll talk about that, the story and everything else later. So I also want to talk about the fact that I cannot spoil this movie for you. It's impossible to spoil this movie because there is no plot. There is no plot. The movie's nothing, and it's basically nothing. It's just a whole bunch of scenes stuck together. So let's talk about the main cast of characters that I have a problem with. Number one, when I saw this in the trailer, I was like, "What are you doing?" Cassandra Cain. Cassandra Cain, played by a little child with a pudgy face. At least they left her Asian. I guess that's the only thing. But other than that, there's no resemblance. So, Cassandra Cain is Batgirl. And when you see this Batgirl. So, this is Cassandra Cain. This is Cassandra Cain as Orphan. And then we have this actress playing Cassandra Cain. No. Then we have Black Canary. Black Canary is one of my favorite characters. She is already a very strong, independent female character with the origin story that she has. She is the daughter of a cop and a superhero. And her mother did not want her to follow in the footsteps of her being a superhero. Yet she's one of the major, I wouldn't say founding members, but one of the pinnacle members of the Justice League. That is already a strong character. And she becomes the leader of Birds of Prey. So now we take, these feminists are going to take this very strong female leader and totally piss on it. So this is Dinah Lance. This is Dinah Lance. And then we have this. And yes, you're going to call me a racist till the cows come home, but there was, along with the nose ring, but I do not need this character to be black. This character does not need to be black. So now you mess with another one of my favorite characters. And then we have Huntress, who is another one of my favorite characters. All right, I collected Birds of Prey for a very long period of time. And you can see how agitated I am because, and I think that Henry Cavill said it best, it's that I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the source material, and how dare you just piss on it. So I've now seen Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and I watched her in Gemini Man, and now I just watched her in this. And she's just not, I know she wants to be or is trying to be an action hero, but she's just not. She's just not. It just doesn't come off. For whatever reason, it just doesn't come off. So anyway, this is Huntress, and this is Huntress, and then we have this. And you can have her completely clothed. She has costumes that are completely clothed. So Ashley Scott, who played Huntress on the TV show, did a better job than Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I don't know what the hell they're doing. And yet, they're talking about the costumes and everything else, and they're all midriff. In the movie, they do midriff stuff and bikini tops. So what the hell's the difference? Anyway, let's talk about Renee Montoya. Okay, Renee Montoya only became one of one of my better characters when she became the Question. She really, when she was a cop, partnered with Harvey Bullock, she was semi-interesting, but she became really interesting when she became the Question. So this is Renee Montoya, and then this is Renee Montoya, and then we have Rosie Perez, who's 55 years old. They could, and then on top of that, they have her wear, for 90% of the time, they have her wearing a shirt that says, "I shaved my balls for this." Oh, I cannot get over some of the decisions that were made for this film. Then we have Victor Zsasz. Okay, so Victor Zsasz is a serial killer. Okay, he works in the movie. He works for the main bad guy, Black Mask, Ewan McGregor. So we have that, but he wears short sleeves in the movie, so he's not bald. And on top of that, which is not hard to do, but he wears short sleeves, and every time he makes a kill in the comics, he makes a mark on his skin, so he scars himself. And he does it in 5s, so it's slash, 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 and then a cross slash. So he has a short sleeve on this. He didn't do any of that. He has none of that on his arms. So again, they didn't make a bald. At least they didn't make him a female, I guess, or black, or whatever. And he was the least of the concern. If he made it black, I really would have cared. But whatever. It was just awful, and the character was nothing anyway. It was just throwaway. The guy who played him in Gotham was better. Anyway, so there's all my problems with just the source material. Black Mass I can care less with, Ewan McGregor. But the second part, before I walked in, was Ewan McGregor's interview. And I don't know if he was pushed to say this stuff by the PR team, or if this was something he actually believed. But here's his little clip.
His father, and he's full of rage, and he's a misogynist. The film deals with misogyny in a very extreme way, like I'm trying to kill her, and there's a scene where I humiliate a woman in a bar, which is horrible. But also there's, I call her silly little girl, and the film is peppered with that sort of everyday misogyny that women have to put up with from us, and it's a good message to put out there to remind guys that those days are over, Those days are over, no doubt.
So, all right there. So this kind of mirrors all the stuff that Brie Larson did, and Ruby Rose, and all these people that have pissed off everybody in existence before their film came out. Or in Ruby Rose's case, the shows that's still continuing that is going to die. There's no saving that show at this point. But yet it got picked up for a second season. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, so it's those are all the reasons I was like, I am not going near this film. So I went into this film last night to at least hoping to enjoy the Harley Quinn portion of it. I didn't even get that. This film is so poorly written. And so let me give you the cast here. So this is Kathy Yan directed it. So here's Kathy Yan's IMDb page. Why can't I get this kind of break? Look at this. 2 shorts and the film. I'd love to be the fly on the wall when Margot Robbie, who probably pitched this girl to the studio and said, yeah, she only has 3 shorts and a feature, but let's give her $80 million to play with. What? What? And then for the writing side, another one who barely has anything, if I could find her here, something Jordan, oh yeah, Christina Holden. So Christina Holden, somehow she got a huge break in Transformers. So she actually wrote Bumblebee, which I like Bumblebee. I can't really say anything negative there. But yet, look at the stuff. So she's written nothing before Bumblebee. So Bumblebee was her breakout. And then she did this. And then she has 2 more DC show movies. What? What? Hopefully they're reconsidering that. So let me show you this film. Okay, so here's this film's. Okay, let's represent this film's plot and story and characterization. This is it. This is how it looks. Paper thin. This is the edge that represents the story and everything else. And here's the dialogue. Okay, the dialogue for this film. On the nose. Every piece of dialogue is so in your face that there's no subtlety to this film whatsoever. There's no story arcs for the characters. Nothing. So, and this is of course coming off the Joker, which I saw recently, and I'm not praising it as much as everybody else because of the fact that it doesn't follow the comics at all. But I can see how the acting and everything else was deserved of what they got. But this is such a piece of crap that I can't understand how it got anywhere. Not to mention the fact that there is no male characters that aren't bad in the entire film. Literally zero. Zero male characters that are anything but scumbags. Every male is a villain in this film. Every single one. Including, there was a guy that lets her stay above his restaurant or whatever else and hides her, and even he betrays her. So every single solitary, even minor character that's male is a villain. If that had happened in the other direction, where every character is a scumbag on the female side in the male movie, we would hear that till the cows came home. But with this, it's okay. My balls have never hurt as much coming out of a film than this one. They literally kicked me in the nuts as many times as they did to the villains. I walked out of there going, this was not a film for me. I was insulted by the time I left this film. Okay, again, it was like as if you went to a male movie, and every female was a prostitute. That's exactly how this was. So everything, it was rapists and bullies and even the cops. Okay, so she goes into a police station, and she literally beats the crap out of every single cop. These cops apparently don't have guns. You try walking into one of the Chicago PD, the show Chicago PD, with a gun, and you see how far you get. Even in that show, you would be dead in 2 seconds. Nope, Harley Quinn steps out with a beanbag gun and literally beats the crap out of every single cop. And do you know how many female cops there were? 1. Renee Montoya. One main character is the only female cop in the whole station in Gotham. What? What? And they're all going, oh, don't beat me up. Don't beat me up, Mrs. Quinn. Yeah. Oh my God. So awful. So awful. And here's the scary part of this. So it has the same plot, the same substance plot as the cartoon Harley Quinn that Kelly Cuckoo is doing. Cuckoo. And she is doing a great job with that cartoon. I love that. I can't wait for Friday to come up and have this show come up. So it's the Joker and Harley have broken up. That's the same plot for both pieces. However, in Kelly Cuckoo's version, she not only breaks up with him, but has this burning desire to be independent and to have everybody appreciate her independence, right? So she wants to be part of the Legion of Doom, which it basically escalates her, all right? So in her mind, at least. And here you have her. She's her best friend is Poison Ivy. And Poison Ivy, just like it was in the other cartoons, and Poison Ivy is her grounder and saying, no, you really don't need this. You don't need all the accolades from this. You're good the way you are. And she really doesn't see that in herself because she's been put down by the Joker for so long a period of time. So, and she has a crew that have men in it. Oh my God, imagine that. You have a male characters. There are also supervillains, so there's no good people in any of these things. But she realizes that once she tries to do the Legion of Doom and get these accolades and everything like that, she gets this elevation of power. She realizes that she's still alone without these other people behind her. So there's this huge arc with her. That there's this, she starts out in this direction. She goes up here and escalates her own character, and then comes down here and realizes she's alone, and then comes back to them. So there's this big wave. In this film, she breaks up with him. She obviously killed a crap load of people because you see from the trailer, she drives this truck with of course, the male driver is outside taking a piss. So she steals his truck that just happens to be right in front of it, and of course it's an energy truck or gas truck or whatever the truck is that explodes. So she drives this thing into Ace Chemicals and destroys it. And it's night, and chances are there's plenty of security personnel there. And she kills them all. And nobody cares. Not to mention the fact that, if you notice also in the trailer, she teams up with Renee Montoya, who is a cop. Okay, she gets suspended. So Renee Montoya gets suspended, and then she teams up with, it's not the Birds of Prey at that time, but let's just call it Birds of Prey. But she teams up with all these villains, and they kill people. And not once did she say, oh, by the way, you're arrested. Not to mention the fact that Harley Quinn was ready to be arrested from the beginning part of the movie. Oh, wow. Okay, so she is no longer a cop ever, even by the end of the film. And she's not the question or anything. And then they start this Birds of Prey thing that I don't know what they're doing with that either. It's never really said what their purpose is. But also, without Barbara Gordon, without Oracle, there really is no Birds of Prey. She was really even though she wasn't the leader of it, she was the center of it. So anyway, this film was just really bad and disappointing, and you really have to suspend belief a lot of suspension of belief. Literally, Harley Quinn gets hit by a car, thrown into a truck, and she just gets up. Not to mention the fact that they even say she ends up suddenly having roller skates on. And I hate even saying Black Canary, but Black Canary says, how did she get these roller skates on? Would she have time for a shoe change? So right there, the movie's telling you that, yeah, it's impossible to do what we just did. Then on top of that, she kicks them off. She just did I, Tonya, right? Where you have to lace up the ice skates the same way that you do with roller skates. It's laced up way past your ankle. And she literally just kicks these things off. So, I mean, this was beyond an eye-rolling film. This was, And then, of course, the kicks in the nuts I was taking about how bad men are continuously. I cannot say more bad things about this film. There was only one scene in the whole film that I enjoyed, and that was the scene in the police depository that we have all the evidence room, basically the evidence room. That was the only scene in the whole film that I enjoyed. So, if you're thinking about seeing this movie, don't. Keep your money. I am emphatically saying, a lot of the reviewers are like, it's up to you, go or don't go. I'm telling you, don't go. Especially if you're a man. So here's the problem. If you're a man, definitely don't go, because this movie's not made for you. If you are a comics fan, definitely don't go because the source material, they just took a crap on it. If you're a woman and you like Harley Quinn and you just want to have a couple laughs, okay, maybe go see it. But otherwise, that's the only type of person this is made for, because there's no film. There's literally no film there. And I can't understand that the person who wrote Bumblebee wrote this movie. Not to mention the fact that they pushed the female agenda on the screen also about having, we need to have female director. We have the female director in this thing, and we have all female crew, all whatever. Female, female, female. Of course, if the men were to do that, we'd be fucking castrated. But the women, we have to have that. So Kathy Yan, once they screen this thing for the private screeners, it got such a bad feedback from the audience that they hired someone else to go in and do reshoots. You see a problem with this? So, anyway, for me, all right, so let's rate this thing on a scale from 1 to 10. And you know me, I usually don't say many really bad things about a film, but I'm going to give this film a 1. That's how badly I hated this film. Hated it. So this is a piece of trash that needs to go away quietly. The fact that it's even made $88 million worldwide, it's even stumped me. But I know why. Because everybody's interested in seeing Harley Quinn and her reprise the role of Harley Quinn. And I would love to see that too. In fact, when they were trying to do Sirens, where it was Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn, I was all in for that. I love the Gotham City Sirens. And there was plenty they could have done with that. And instead we just... there was plenty they could have done with Birds of Prey too, but this was not the film to go out and do Birds of Prey. It really wasn't. And, Margot Robbie went on record saying that Harley needs friends. That's why she brought this whole team thing in, that she needs friends. But there was plenty you could have done with that without just destroying the source material, where you can't even bring it back anymore, because Birds of Prey is dead now. It's just dead because this film lost money, and then now they're going to. So I bring this up again. When I first moved here, I wrote a Holocaust biography, and I have female characters of my own that I was pitching. And at that time, they weren't doing anything with female protagonists because female protagonists did not make money. All right? So now with Suicide Squad and with Black Widow and some of the other things that we have female protagonists were making money, Resident Evil and Celine, all the female stars, action stars that were making money, elevated that to where they were taking chances on female characters again. And now, with all this stuff going on with Batwoman, with Supergirl, with Charlie's Angels, and all this female agenda thing that they were just pushing so hard on, Hollywood's going to go, no more females. And it's coming. It's coming because it's called, they even have its own name now. Get woke, go broke. If you have your own name for something like this, they're just going to shut the doors. So instead of it going and just making a good movie without an agenda and keeping this going where we had, females that were taking the higher end, instead of saying no men, men suck, no men, no men, no men, no men, no men, no men. Instead of going in the direction where it was a little bit at a time, and instead they just went to an extreme, and now we have this major pushback from society against Hollywood doing this. Hollywood's going to shut their doors on these female roles, because in the end, Hollywood is not an agenda-based business. It is a business. It is an industry, and it's there to make money. So once it starts losing $100 million every time something like this occurs, what do you think is going to happen? So if you guys were all smart, you'd be pulling some of this back. And even Bombshell, okay? Bombshell had a great cast. I didn't go there and do that thing anyway. I didn't want to hear anything about this Me Too crap again. Me and along a lot of other people, including females. You should see the amount. I mean, all you have to do is look on the internet, look on YouTube, and see the amount of female reviewers that are over this. So if the males are over it, the females are over it, who is your audience going to be anymore? Nobody. Nobody. So you guys need to wise up and just make a good movie. And it's okay to have a female character. It's okay to have a black female character as long as you're not pissing on the source material. You want to make a brand new character that's female and black? Great. Bring it on. But there's no reason to take a white character, and you can call me racist all you want, but there's no reason to take a black character and make a white character, make them black, just for the hell of being PC. Because it cannot go the other way. We can't take a black character and make him white. We'll be hung. So it shouldn't go in the other direction either. So that's my 2 cents on all this. I hope they stop. I hope they realize that this is not a way to change the world. The way to change the world is a little at a time, and on top of that, making it a partnership. Just like marriage and any other kind of relationship. It needs to be a partnership between men and women. That's how this works. So the films that show men and women and races and genders and everything else all as equal, that's how this changes. That's how the world changes, is by showing everybody as equals, not one better than the other. And this film pushes that to the nth degree, and it disgusts me. So my rating's a 1. All right? Tell me all of your comments below, and feel free to rag me forever for calling me a racist or whatever you want to call me, because I prefer to keep my source material intact. Then I'm a racist. All right? But, I have, as far as female characters are concerned, I support them 100% as long as everybody's equal. I don't think that's hard to do. All right, have a good one. Subscribe. Call me a bunch of names. Whatever. And I'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.